Welcome back, nerds. Put down your Mountain Dew, put down the Doritos, and get ready to tune in for another episode of your number one nerd podcast, the Unknown Comic Book Podcast. I am here. It's a special collaboration episode. I'm here with the gentlemen, the young kings, if you will, of the Living Joke Podcast. We've got Cam, we've got Connor, and we've got Will. We're going to introduce these gentlemen and how they got into their fantastic podcast. And then we're going to talk some nerd stuff like we always do. I also want to give a big shout out to my co-host, Johnny Raps. He's out and putting the final stages on this new album, which should be releasing next week. So he couldn't be here tonight, but we'll see you next time, Raps. And we can't wait for the new music to drop. So, gentlemen, before we even begin, please introduce yourself. Tell the people at home a little bit about the Living Joke Podcast and how you guys came together to make that fantastic show.
Cam, you want to start us off since you essentially created this awesome thing for all of us?
Yeah, so I'm Cameron Cowan of the Cameron Journal. Long time listeners to the Sean Marz universe will know me from politics and Down in the Den and all this type of thing, but CameronJournal.com. I've hosted the Cameron Journal podcast in multiple forms for almost 10 years, and we have with all of us living under one roof, we have lots of interesting, fascinating conversations around the smoke table or in the living room, whatever, all the time. And one night I was kind of like, hey guys, I work in media. What if we start a podcast and start promoting you two as streamers, and basically cover trending topics and video reacts and shill for cash? And so our whole kind of the thing with the show is, if it's hot, we're talking about it. And we're 10 episodes in. It has been a wonderful response so far, which is crazy. And we're on Substack, we're on Instagram, and we're part of the Soupcast podcast network, of which I'm executive producer, and that's been a big help. And that it's also added a whole new dimension to the podcast network. It was focused a lot on politics and religion and authors and writing, and this is completely something very different, which is a lot of fun. I had thought about adding a second stream to the Cameron Journal anyway. And so when that idea of maybe I should do a second day of streaming, because I do the news hour every Mondays at 7, and this kind of crashed together, and that brought us the Living Joke Podcast. We've had some amazing response. We've already had a viral video, me talking about American tourists beating up French pickpockets in Paris during the Olympics, has been watched 68,000 times on 3 platforms.
Oui.
Yes.
My middle name is Pierre, so the French.
Omelette du fromage.
Yeah, which is so crazy. And so we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of weird things and talk about weird things, but a lot of gaming, a lot of trailers, a lot of movies, all this type of thing. And it's been a lot of fun. For me, this is rather old hat, and it's in addition to what I do. Neither Will or Connor had done a podcast before, so it's also been a process of becoming as well. But what it has done is unleashed Will's creativity in terms of videos, things like that. And that's been a huge part of the early response and why people have responded so much, is because Will is a denizen of the internet, and he knows how to twiddle the right nerds and chronically online people's brain cells in a way that I definitely do not. So that's been absolutely wonderful. And some of our most amazing early moments came from Connor. Our first video over 1,000 views was a video of Connor talking about something or other. I forget what it is now, but like one of our first early successes was Connor. So it's been a team effort. It's been a group effort. It's been wonderful, amazing. And now I will stop talking, let them introduce themselves. But that's the background of the show.
Love it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Connor. I'm kind of a jack-of-all-trades type of dude, but I've been playing video games my whole life and always had a love for comics and the superhero movies, so I'm glad to be able to be a part of this today. I think it'll be fun.
It's awesome. Welcome to the show, Connor. Big Will.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. Excuse me. This is not my first foray into like YouTubing or streaming or anything. I've done it like kind of on and off over the years, but with varying little intermittent small channel success or running pages and things like that. As Cameron says, I know all the weird places to look. I the dirty crevices of the internet to find find something. Cameron is often thinks I kind of just clip into an alternate existence. He says I use a different internet than him.
It's true.
I've most of my like background in education is all in medical. I'm a licensed paramedic. Yeah, just had a love for video games since a kid, and happy to be doing this now. Had a lot of extra free time, and getting back into video editing's been great, and really getting to do a lot of art. And I've been posting some of my stuff. If you like manga, and I'm going to be doing some more stuff. I'll be posting my art, so hopefully you'd like it. I'm doing a Berserk mural right now.
Nice. Well, welcome to the show, Will, and welcome to the land of creatives. It's a treacherous place, but we have fun here. So welcome, and I'm so happy to have all three of you guys on the show. So the first topic, as you know, here on the Unknown Comic Book Podcast, we talk about all things nerd culture, be it video games, movies, comic books, whatever it may be. So I decided summer's over, kids are going back to school, the air has come over. It's cooled down here on the East Coast, and normally the summer is a blockbuster season. Normally you have a couple $1 billion comic book movies to really put the movie world on the shoulder. And Cam and I have talked about it on the other show, how theaters are pretty much dead. They never really recovered from the pandemic, and this was the first year since I believe 2008. Don't quote me on that. That a superhero movie hasn't crossed $700 million. So we're talking a pretty long time and a pretty long streak. I ask you, gentlemen, is it over? Is it like the Western? Is there superhero fatigue? I mean, there'll always be superhero movies, but the summer of 4 or 5 superhero movies, 4 of them making upwards of 700 million, and a few making $1 billion, some making $2 billion. Is that over? Is superhero fatigue a real thing?
I'm going to chime in as the non-comic book expert, but just as a film goer. I think the superhero fatigue is real, but more so, I think it's more of like a Joss Whedon fatigue, if you know what I'm saying. Like every movie is like exactly the same now. It feels like there's really like no standouts, and they're putting in these newer character. It's always hard to bring a new character in, and I totally give Marvel that. I mean, it's hard to bring in a new character into a film franchise that hasn't been featured in a long time, or the newest series that have started to release. I get that, but like, I don't know. I also just find them so hard to care about. They just seem kind of like cookie cutter superheroes. And I mean, please, the Ironheart costume looks like she jumped out of Playmobil with that thing. It looks off. I don't know what their design team did with that, but nothing.
Looks like a Power Ranger.
Yeah, she does kind of look like Super Sentai, dude.
I definitely did get some Green Ranger vibes from the costume department, a little CW-ish, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. I think we're going through another movement, like when they tried to make superheroes popular in the 90s, or in like early 2000s. Like you got Catwoman, Elektra, like all these, like, the first Hulk that like nobody really liked. And then they finally kind of got the formula going. I feel like we're reaching the end of that formula, and they're either going to have to push past it, evolve, or die. I don't know.
I mean, you said it dead on, and I think that's definitely a factor. People just really aren't interested in these characters, and I think Marvel got a little arrogant after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. We were like, oh, we put a tree and a raccoon and made $800 million. We can do anything. And it's like, all right, put the crack away. You're going a little far here. How about you, Connor? Or Cam? What is your?
We've talked about this some on the Live and Joke too, but I think some of it has to do with they need to realize that the people that grew up and love these characters are getting older, and when like for the MCU example, I understand like you want movies that the whole family can go and see, but as the people that grew up and loved these comic books and these characters get older, and then you continue to pander to this just family friendly same like good guy bad guy story, that's super fun when you're a child. It's not when you're an adult and you're still a nerd. And when we have such immense technology to create amazing visuals, really anything you want in films. I've mentioned, I always go to these two because I think they're like some of the most insane, but we have stories in comic books like World Breaker Hulk or Meat Gardener Venom, with not only are they more geared towards the adult side, but those would be so incredible to see on a high budget cinematic movie, with just some ridiculous like spaceship Hulk flying through space, destroying planets, and we really don't get that, and they've kind of just, it feels like they've stuck themselves in this sort of pathway of what they want to do in the films when they have all the diversity of the comics that they could bring into it as well.
Preaching to the choir here. I hear it. Cam, I know you're not the superhero comic book aficionado, but you are a big film buff. So I think you're more than qualified to speak. In your opinion, is it a superhero fatigue thing, or is it a quality fatigue thing?
I think it's a superhero fatigue thing. I've been waiting for this moment for probably 5 years. I've been patiently waiting for one of these days these films are going to get played out and we can go back to normal movies and I'll go to the theater again. So for me, I'm kind of like, oh, happy day. Like great, we can get back to making interesting movies. This will be good. But I think there's been some tactical it on the other side of it's a good thing and it should keep going. I think there's been some tactical mistakes. The Madam Web disaster was a disaster. One, who the hell hired Dakota Johnson to start with? For two, you have her basically doing press for the film talking about how terrible it is. And I'm like, well, clearly the check is cleared because she doesn't give a shit anymore. And so I think there's some tactical mistakes. I also think something like Madam Web is better suited for television. That should have been on Disney Plus, sort of thing. And you could have had more of it because episodic television, you end up with more
character development too.
Yeah, I think some of these stories would be greatly aided by TV, and I'm not talking some 8-season BS. I'm talking 22 episodes network style. So I think there's been some tactical mistakes. But to Connor's point, and he knows about the specific issues and things more than I do. But the storytelling in comic books is very different, a lot more dynamic and a lot more interesting. I think Disney moving forward, could continue playing to the family angle because there are people with kids that grew up with this at this point and want to take their kids to see it. And I think you could do films for that specifically. And I think over at Batman, they figured this out, that if you make R-rated Batman movies, you will fill theaters. And I think, Disney's reflex is to go the family angle. Their reflex is to go for that sort of thing. Disney's not very good at catering to an adult audience sort of thing. And so I think it's really hard over at the House of Mouse to get a lot of movement for something that is rated R and really for an adult audience. In that way, it would be better if Marvel were still independent or owned by someone else. But I think they kind of maybe need to dual wield a little bit, and do both and create that type of content. I would also like the movies to be more interesting. I've always found the storytelling to be so thin. I've a lot of it, I feel like Michael Bay must be executive producing lots of explosions and sparks and visuals and all this type of thing. I think that also prevents an opportunity for depth of storytelling that, quite frankly, has been lacking from almost all of these movies. So that's my view. Will's dying of laughter. What do you want to say?
Has anybody checked on Michael Bay recently? Is he in his garage somewhere? Somebody better check on him.
From my understanding, he's in, and I wish I was being sarcastic. They're putting him back in charge of the reboot of the Transformers franchise. So, get ready to see a 17-year-old in really tiny shorts and
no, never mind. No.
And a lot of indistinguishable robots. Like, I don't know if this is Optimus Prime. I don't know if they all look the same. Just great.
Yes, Lord Megatron.
Yes, and sponsored by Tesla.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, what's the Tesla Transformer gonna be? Is there gonna be a Cybertruck Transformer?
No, they don't like trans at Tesla. Remember, so it won't be. It won't be any type of Transformer Tesla. He's really against that. You were built a Model Y. You stay a Model Y. I think all three of you made fantastic points, and I definitely agree with all three of you. My view, I think a lot of it, however, is, and it's one of my least favorite sins, is greed. Like the folks at Disney, and we all like money, but they put money over storytelling. They put money over one thing that I believe is going to be the resurgence of the superhero franchise. Is that over at DC, you got James Gunn running the show, and he believes script first, story first, then you put a release date. And Marvel is like, we got a movie coming out September 3rd. Okay, cool. You got a script? No. You got a director? No. Yeah, they do it completely backwards, and you can't tell a story. I believe as creatives, no matter what we do, it boils down to storytelling, and you got to kind of know your beginning, middle, and end. To my understanding, they started filming Avengers Doomsday with an unfinished script. Like, they didn't know how the movie was going to end. That's scary as hell when you're spending $500 million on a movie and you don't know how it's going to end. So I think that greed where they just stretch, especially during the pandemic, when they launched Disney Plus, 16 Disney Plus shows, 14 movies, they're just throwing all this content. And like you said, us who may have started, a lot of people, if you were 18 when Iron Man came out, you're a middle-aged man now. You don't have the time to really go to every single movie, especially if it's about a side character that you may not really care about. So I think greed, quality, as Cam mentioned, a lot of the story and plot development is often very thin. There's usually a beam from the sky in the third act, and a very unforgettable villain who's a copy of the hero. If he's Iron Man, he's like Copper Man. If he's Spider Man, he's it's just a carbon copy. We have the same powers with a different color costume, and you combine that with like Cam said, a little bit of fatigue. It's a lot, and I've managed to watch them all in the theater as well as usually buy a hard copy. And it's a lot for me, and I've enjoyed most of them, but I certainly could have spent that time investing in something a little bit more profitable. So I agree with all of you, and we'll see. I think it's a make or break year next year.
This has happened in film. This has happened so often before.
Yeah.
We talked about Westerns. And my grandma loved Westerns because she was young in the 50s. That was the thing.
Same.
And so I can still hear her voice when I say, Grandma, what do you want to watch on TV? And she would say, Cameron, just put on a good Western. Yeah, just put on a good whatever have you, which for her usually meant John Wayne. And by the late 70s, one of the reasons Star Wars was so popular is it was a Western set in space. And there was so much fatigue because that had been the dominant. I mean, a lot of great film was produced in the 60s and 70s that wasn't that. But that was kind of the dominant popular film sort of thing. And by the late 70s, it was tired. They'd done it all. People had seen it all. Most of the major stars were older. John Wayne was in his 70s, in the 70s sort of thing. And so I think there was just a lot of fatigue, and things eventually made themselves up. Not that we quit producing Westerns. Lord knows we did not. but it certainly became less of a dominant filmmaking genre sort of thing than anything else. And I think for a lot of companies, it's hard to let that stuff go because these genres, and especially in something like the MCU, which is owned by one company, they become industries. Thousands of people are employed on this stuff. Script writers, script people, talent. I mean, suddenly people's whole jobs, whole salaries are paid for by a franchise or whatever have you. And for a lot of companies, that's hard to let go of because it means you're going to be letting people go and reducing headcount. It means profits are not going to look good if you're a publicly traded company, which Disney is. No one wants to hear that on an investor call, sort of thing. And especially for a company like Disney that is on the struggle bus right now. It's the conductor of the struggle bus right now. Sort of thing. It's like even Rosa Parks doesn't want to sit down on this bus. It's a very difficult thing. And I think that inability to walk away or innovate or do something different gets hard when it becomes so big and it becomes so much.
I mean, and I noticed the tiny violin sounds that Will was making, and it's hard to feel sorry for a company who owns Marvel and Star Wars IP and can't figure out what to do. It's like, oh, what a luxury problem to have. Like, give me a segment of one of those IPs and a half of the investment. I also think a huge problem. They consolidated so much power. Early Marvel success, they used to have a committee. It wasn't just Kevin Feige as the grand leader, supreme leader of Marvel. They had a committee, the people to say no or yes, and probably somebody could say maybe we shouldn't make an Echo show. Maybe we could just introduce her as a side character. We don't have to give her a whole series. Maybe She-Hulk can just be with the Hulk. She doesn't necessarily have to have a whole series. Ironheart could be a character in the next Iron Man movie. Once again, doesn't need a whole series. But you have this, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's woke, it's woke." No, nothing's more woke than comic. X-Men is an analogy for everything: racism, gender, sexuality. It's for all of that. Comic book characters and fans are some of the most diverse. It's when they just start changing stuff for no reason. Like a black Bruce Wayne wouldn't work for me. And I'm like, I don't think he's old money. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just don't think Rashawn Wayne was with, the robber barons selling oil bonds. Something just doesn't click for me. So
that's why he's got to be Bruce Walker, Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-grandson, heir to a beauty fortune. Like,
what's your powers, Batman? I have great hair. That's it.
Yes, exactly.
Very rich for my fantastic hair. Yeah. Do you guys think there's any riding this ship? Like, is this the Titanic? There's nothing we can do. It's hitting the iceberg no matter what. Or can we pull out, I forgot the Tom Hanks movie where he like flips the plane, but can we do a Sully and save this ship?
I think it can. Yeah, I think it can be saved. You made a great comment. One more thing that really hits with these films that I don't particularly enjoy that I think would be an easy fix is the villains. The villains all feel the same. I was extremely disappointed with how they portrayed Thanos in the films. And to me, he felt like just a copy and paste of like Ultron in the films compared to his motives and such in the comic books, where he's just really truly a force of pure unadulterated evil and doesn't have some kind of this is the other thing, that even with the villains they have to tie in some kind of dumb righteous crap with them, where Thanos didn't care about any of that in the comics. He's just evil and wants to destroy everything. He could have still done that. You could have still had the same exact film with his true character and stuck true to the comic books. Those are the little tweaks that they could do without completely changing their movies and undoing the family friendliness, but that's my thought.
I mean, Disney is and Marvel per se has such a long history that literally every genre of film and storytelling, you can have a character united in the universe. You can have Dino Girl or whatever for the kids, and if you want to focus that, put that on Disney Plus. You can have Punisher for the low budget, violent, rated R action movie. You can have Guardians of the Galaxy for a space epic. You can every genre. There's a character that can do that, and I think their best is when it was more genre based and it just happened to be superhero. Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie. And that because it was like a 70s style espionage movie with high budget, great special effects, wonderful acting, and it just happened to be superhero characters. Like I guarantee you can, someone who hates superheroes, you can put on Winter Soldier and they'll be like, that's a pretty damn good movie. And that was a genre that happened to be in the superhero category, but it was still a genre base. And to Cam's point, now it's very copy and paste, and we all see it. And then there's some movies that didn't need to be made, like Quantumania, for example. What the hell happened there? Like who approved MODOK? I like to see them in the alley and have maybe 5 minutes, and then the rushing of the special effects because they're changing the script. You have these artists that have to change their character designs sometimes at the last minute. So that's why you see 2008 Iron Man special effects look just as good as 2025 Brave New World. And it's been over a dozen years, but they had time back then to work on the special effects and a lot more practicality. So I do believe it can be saved, but I don't think they have the stones or the leadership to do it. Any of you guys think that, the ship can be saved, or is it straight Titanic iceberg?
I think that definitely either a change in mindset or a change in leadership needs to happen, because, I mean, you might as well. Bob Iger is doing about as well as Brett Favre in terms of fumbling anything he's given. So he just, how can you be handed like literal gold, a piece of God in your hand of media, and fuck it up? Like, how do you continually do it over and over? Like, these are just such long established characters, and they just fumble the ball. And it's like, there's nothing, the quote unquote, I think the problem with the wokeness, the whole aspect of it is because, like, it's always embraced people's uniqueness and diversity. X-Men, great example, right? And there's a metaphor for for everything in that. But oh, please excuse me.
Oh, this happens. No, it's okay. This happens from time to time. Will's gotten bashed in the head a little bit too much, so sometimes the train derails.
Yeah, true story. But yeah, what was I just saying? I'm sorry.
Sadly, I wasn't super on top of it because Wade sent me an email and I was answering it quickly.
Damn it.
I know, so I wasn't really tuned into what you were talking about. I'm so sorry.
You were saying the diversity of the X-Men characters and the wokeness,
the
ship.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think the problem that people have with the quote unquote wokeness nowadays is because it's so heavy-handed and just not funny. Like, it's not well written. It's like, oh, haha, girl power. Like every joke is a ha, girl power. Like who was Miss Marvel, the Brett, what's her name? The blonde girl that played.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh, girl power. That's like the whole movie.
Yeah, when they started having the fight scene to "I'm Just a Girl" by No Doubt, I was like, come on, that's just lazy.
This is lazy.
There's a million songs about woman empowerment that you could have picked. But you say, hey, Gwen Stefani, I'm just a girl. And somebody was probably in the production studio like, I've got it. I've got it here. It's lazy. It's almost like some of these scripts, they went in Chat GPT And she was like, "Hey, I need a script. About 5 minutes. Here are the characters. Here you go."
Yeah. If we didn't know better, you'd think some of it was made by AI.
I think a lot of it is.
A lot of it is.
Maybe it is.
Well, most of as Cameron says many times when we're watching film, he's like, as you can see, this was made in a studio in fabulous downtown Burbank because the green screen is so the green screen's so obvious because I mean we've seen the behind the scenes footage of like them recording. We've seen them doing for Guardians of the Galaxy with the little tiny white intern in the green suit getting pet by Dave Bautista, and it's like they're not doing anything.
No, just kidding.
No, we were watching this really great movie from the 50s called High Noon. That was a wonderful movie, but there was one long shot right at the end. You can literally see the interstate being built. I'm like, oh, we have some fabulous downtown Burbank. That's obviously California and not Utah. This was shot in the desert in like Anaheim or something. Like it's like, dude, clip the shot. You can literally see the 405. Like,
there's a list of faux pas or continuity errors in Hollywood, and when you look at it, it's hilarious. I believe it's Ben-Hur, and there's a scene the guy has a digital watch on, and and then Pulp Fiction, one of my all-time favorite movies, when the guy comes out and shoots at John Travolta and Samuel Jackson characters, the bullet holes are already in the wall. It's a ton of those. That might be a episode we have to do, but it's a ton of continuity errors that are just hilarious.
No, it's that we
a lot of fun.
We kind of among ourselves call it. Oh, we got some fabulous downtown Burbank here. Like that's so.
Like, no, we're in space. Wink, wink. Like, is that OJ's Bronco? I see it in the background. That's right there.
It's like
it's got the glove. No, it's just the glove. The glove is driving by itself.
Just the isotoner glove, yeah.
He had a green shirt on, so it just fades away.
Right.
I actually have a poster downstairs of him in his SUV, and it says the juice is loose.
It's not a poster, it's a flag, and it hangs on the stairs. You can't miss it.
You didn't have to blow me up like that. Look. Okay.
He had a small collector's card. He was like, no. Actually.
Yeah, there's a famous bit about how Ford discontinued production of the Bronco about that. And I think it's unbelievable. It's like, imagine doing something so terrible. Toyota cancels the Corolla. Like,
it's our number one seller globally. Yeah, but
we're at least withdrawing from the American market. We'll sell it in Brazil. Like that's
we call it the Corolla. We'll just put an asterisk by it.
Right.
Well, moving on to our Dead 7. We for all the gamers, we've done a top 5 video games of all time segment. So we'll do it round robin style because I know we probably don't have these off the top of my head. So one of us will go. So we're gonna start from the bottom up, and with me, I'll start number 5. This game blew my freaking mind, and I'm aging myself right now. If the gray beard and bald head didn't do it, Super Mario Brothers 3. My God. Of course, my first gaming system was a Nintendo, regular Nintendo. Came with regular Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt for those who are like 40 and up. And then Super Mario Brothers 2 came out. Great. But Super Mario Brothers 3. With the movie tie-in, shout out to the guy from the Wonder Years, who I can't remember, Fred Savage, the Power Glove, everything. But Super Mario Brothers 3, I remember I won a contest. I was in elementary school. I won a contest for like selling candy. You know how they used to pimp little kids out and make us go to strangers' stores and ask them if they want candy and hope they give us money. Nothing bad ever happened there. But when they used
I'm glad somebody else knows what that is, because when I told that, they didn't believe me.
Yeah, it's a real thing. They used to send children to strangers' store, ask if they want to buy candy, and hope you come back with money and not trauma. So,
a little sore walking back.
I didn't sell any candy, but he said, so I won $100, which $100 in the 80s for like an 8-year-old might as well have been $2 million in unmarked bills. It was like crazy. And I go to Toys R Us. I pull a little slip out. I get Super Mario Brothers 3. And for about 3 months, that's all I did, non-stop until I beat that thing. So for me, that's my number 5, regular Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers 3.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Good.
My my number 5 game is a probably not one. This one has a lot of sentimental value, mostly because it doesn't have many other merits. Is NHL '94 for the Sega Genesis. Was the very first game I was ever given. It was a gift from my my oldest sister, and so just the startup. It had that CNC music factory, like the whole thing, and I don't know, just endless hours of playing that game. It was fun. You could get into fights on the ice. As I was like, this was in '99, so I was 5 years old, wee baby at 5. But yeah, getting just in brawls and being home, especially sick from school, it's like I kind of convinced my mom that I was sick, but I really stayed home and played NHL all day on my my Genesis and made burritos or something. Yeah, that's that'll be my number 5.
That's a
All right,
classic.
at number 5, I put Banjo-Kazooie for the Nintendo 64.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, a lot of time with that game. It's funny because it started off initially. I've been playing since some of my earliest memories, even as a toddler, are just like messing around on my dad's NES. Banjo-Kazooie was like a shift from my first game where my dad was helping me with it to where I really started playing on my own. And just one quick funny story that I'll never forget is because in that game, on the loading screen, it's a little weird. As most gamers know, if you normally hit, back then on the 64, it was the B button. Your red button on the PlayStation, it's the circle. It usually means go back. Well, my dad had helped me with Banjo-Kazooie for days, and we were pretty much at the end of the game. If you hit B on the save files of that game, it deletes your save file.
Oops.
My dad was not a happy camper.
Oh, stuff not saved online. Remember that where you had a memory card or you could just get corrupted and all your hard work is just thrown, and then the first time dark thoughts cross your head as a child. It's like, what if I burn everyone down? Huh? Whose voice is that? It's a lot of trauma from the video game.
I've definitely lost a memory card at like sleepover nights or something. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That hurts.
Yeah, that hurts big time. Cam, you're number 5.
Oh, well, this is a very difficult conversation because all the games that I like to play, no one knows about them or cares about them, and
Yes,
they're
they
very
do.
far
Stop
from anything
lying.
like that.
Stop lying.
So
Even more.
no, it's a very old one was Civilization 2.
I love the Civilization series. I love a good RPG, turn-based. 'Cause sometimes I have bad eyesight, so the action games. I was never good at Street Fighter. I didn't have the coordination, but
Yeah, no. I played every single version of Civilization from the first one to the present day. And Civilization 4 was the peak of the series, but I put in a lot of hours on Civilization 2, and how long ago there was a book, an actual guidebook that came with the game. Like, here, let me date myself. We had to go to a store and buy a game that is on a box on a shelf. It came with a book. We had to talk to a person, check it out, all this type of thing, and then go home and install it and all this sort of thing. And yeah.
12-year-old like this guy's talking fairy tales.
Yeah, I know. In the long ago. Yeah, I would say that my number 5 most favorite was Civilization 2. Also, speaking of like dad memories, It had a hot seat function, and I would play with my dad, who's a brilliant strategy gamer. And so, yeah, it was. There was one point in that game I was playing against the computer, and I got locked into where neither of us could beat the other, and our whole border was this tiny strip of land, and I spent many hours just they would attack my units, I would attack their units, and nothing would move. It was World War I on steroids, but yeah.
Like assured mutual destruction. I don't care.
Indeed.
So my number 4, this game, it's really a series, but since it's our show, I'm going to go ahead and consider it one. And it almost didn't make it because of the ending. They did not stick the ending, but the Mass Effect series. I'm a sucker for a good story. I love story games, RPGs, things of that nature where I can just kind of like escape and get in my own universe. And never before, to my knowledge, and never since, was there a game where it carried over all of your decisions from the prior game into your next game, as long as you had that save. To me, that blew my mind and made me like really care about these characters and play it multiple times. First 2 were phenomenal, and the third one was a big, hot, warm bag of dog crap. It was really awful. We were rushed. It almost ruined the whole series for me. So bad that they gave a free expansion pack to try to save it. And there was nothing they could do. Did not stick the landing. And then maybe a decade later, they tried to do Mass Effect Andromeda, which was another hot, lukewarm bowl of cat poop, and wasn't very good. And now the series has been retired. But those first 2, my God, I think I became a man on those games. So that's my number 4, the Mass Effect series.
Mass Effect Andromeda was an abomination.
Yeah, it was a real life abomination. It never should have happened.
Oh, that character, her eyes haunt me. God, they haunt me so. So let me see. My number 4, I I have a little bit of eccentric taste. I leapt off the we needed to stop improving video games at Gen 7 or Gen 9 PlayStation. No, Gen 7 PlayStation 3. If the director, producer, owner, creator of Suda 51 rings any bells, or Shinji Mikami, or the famous the audio direction done by Akira Yamaoka. The game I'm talking about is Shadows of the Damned. It's a game where you play as a Mexican internet savvy, like weeb gang member demon hunter guy, and your girlfriend that you met in a trash can that you took home. Demons come to get her, and then you have to go to hell to save them. And it's a over-the-shoulder third person.
Oh, romantic.
Oh, it's very romantic, yes. And there's plenty of innuendos and eye candy and fan service for anybody who's into that stuff. Aside, if you take away all that stuff, the game's still fantastic. It's very lewd, very crass, very gory, and funny. Horror and comedy is a great combo. It's always has been for me. Like Gremlins, great example too.
Love Gremlins.
So good, man. So yeah, that'd probably be my number 4. I think that's it's just a lot of fun. Suda's a weird guy, and they added in Shinji Mikami too, and he's even weirder. So it was just a match made in heaven. I'm glad that they could make that game. And good news, they've got the rights back to it. So they might be releasing a remaster or possibly a sequel, which I'm super excited for. No news yet though.
Nice. I love when freaks match, when the match the freak with the freak, and it becomes just beautiful art. That's an awesome choice. Connor, how about you? Your number 4.
Number 4 on the PlayStation 1, Brave Fencer Musashi. This is when I really split from gaming as like a family thing into really gaming on my own, even though it's around the same era as the 64. Great little adventure. RPG was probably my first game in that genre, and I just remember spending hours on it. The characters I loved, especially like I'll put myself on blast a little. I'm a pretty short man, and watching little fat-headed Musashi with his stub arms run around made me feel like a hero.
We all need representation. That's why it's so important.
Man. And then on the PS2 they did a sequel, and that was really incredible with just some great. They involved more action and combat, and the combat system in that game was really fun.
Sweet. Cam, you're number 4.
Number 4. Well, I was going through a couple, but I think I'm going to settle on another lame choice. The SimCity franchise, which sadly we no longer have as Maxis Studios, has gone away. I played SimCity 1 on my mom's computer. That's how long ago that was. And I played it all the way till I was there the day SimCity 4 got shut down. Like, I was one of the last people to log off, sort of thing. And I still miss it. That's actually what got me to play City Skylines, which will probably be my number 3. Little teaser. But I was never into The Sims and playing with people's lives. I barely can run my own. I have no patience for anybody else. As far as city builders go, it was the OG choice, and I watched it go from a zone is a red rectangle, that means industrial, to, all the way up to very sophisticated tile zoning and very sophisticated buildings and all this type of thing, and even getting into future stuff. You had VTOL drones delivering goods at the end and all this type of thing. And it was, yeah. And honestly, I have to say, for the city builder side of the franchise, not a miss. Every single one was great all the way through. I actually had this when SimCity 2000 came out. I had the book. My aunt bought it for my birthday. It was like it was a 3-inch Bible. You could whack somebody with it, and I had it for SimCity 2000. It was quite crazy. So that's
nice.
my number 4.
I think this nostalgia, love for government and things of that nature, probably city planning from these games.
I know. Like I said, every one of these is just going to be terrible. Everyone else's is so much more interesting. But Sims, there it is. Yeah,
I love SimCity 2000.
Yeah, I love the variety. I love it. All right, so my number 3, this game made me a fan of Star Wars all over again, and it's the very first Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
Talk about story.
I had a friend in high school that played that a lot, actually.
Phenomenal. Talk about
Never
story.
played it, but I've watched it. That's one of the ones I've watched a lot of.
Dude, it changed it. In my opinion, it was the best written Star Wars content since Empire Strikes Back. That's how good it was. And I played it. The hours played ridiculous. Light side, dark side. I played it all. And like I said, it reinvigorated when people were downing Star Wars. Like, oh, you're a nerd. Next thing you know, I was walking around with lightsabers in school. That's how much I loved it. So yeah, for me, Knights of the Old Republic. Second one was okay. But the first one, crazy. And the twist was M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. I can't pronounce it, but quality as far as the twist. So yeah, phenomenal movie, game. Cinematic it was, but got me talking like Yoda. But yeah, cinematic it was.
Don't get me started on Yoda. Oh no.
Enjoy
Wrong podcast for you.
Yeah, no, we can't talk about dirty Yoda on here.
You fuck. But Will, what's your number 3?
My number three is Mega Man Battle Network 5
Oh wow.
for the Game Boy Advance. I played a few of the Mega Man Battle Network games, but actually my uncle got it for me as a random like Christmas gift. You know, they didn't really know, but they picked me up a couple games. Ended up being one of my favorite franchises of all time. Battle Network 5 is like isometric dungeon crawler-esque game with this this you've got like it's 50-50 your side of the field, their side of the field. It's almost kind of like I imagine a game of tennis, but you do combat based around this single direction movement like space. And it's a typical, it's a story written for 5-year-olds. I get it, but I absolutely love it. It's just you run around with your little guy on your roller skates and kick ass, and the power of friendship and all that fun stuff. And I am just a sucker for the power of friendship, man. But it was honestly, I still play it today. I picked up the Battle Network collection that came out on Switch. Still love the games. It's been great getting to play through all of them again. 5 is probably their peak. And then it kind of petered out after that because people stopped caring, which is so sad. It's a good game. I hope there is some light since they did the remake. I hope there's some sort of light that they might reopen that book someday. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Well, for spoiler alert, who haven't seen the Thunderbolts, The Power of Friendship is still alive and well in cinema today. So it's always the best way to beat someone that's overpowered. A hug. Connor, how about you? You're number 3.
Well, before I say my number 3, since Bo brought it up, honorable mention would be Mega Man X4, because that game taught me discipline, man. Just having the fight and play over and over again, that game kicked the shit out of me. But as my number 3, it was hard. I'd like to include this whole series, but I picked the one I played the most and probably have the most love for, would be Zelda Oracle of Seasons on the Game Boy Color. I grew up with the Zelda series. I mentioned one of my earliest memories is like playing NES before I can even remember anything else, was just sitting there and moving Link around on the screen, having no idea what I was doing.
The gold cartridge.
But Oracle of Seasons, I put a ton of time into as a young man, and can remember even just standing around, even thinking the items were fun, goofing around with the magnet gloves and just making Link go back and forth over pits that you'd normally fall in was fascinating to me. So that's my number 3, and I'd love to revisit it one day.
Great pick. Cam, you're number 3.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Overwatch. That was the first time I'd ever bought a gaming console in my entire life. Wow. That's actually how I met Will and Connor. Will directly, Connor indirectly. And that I spent a lot of time on that game. It was the first game I kind of sort of got good at a little bit. And when I left console and moved to PC, I relearned it on keyboard and mouse actually. Which was fun, and just a lot of hours spent into that when I was, working in 2017, 2018, when I had kind of gotten out of the content creator business. I was living in a place with no kitchen and no bathroom. So it was not what we're going to cook, it's where we're going to eat from. So I would come home, get food, whatever have you, do stuff around the little kind of basement area that I was renting at the time, and then hop on the game. And because I lived in Seattle at the time, and our gaming group lived on the East Coast, it actually worked out because by the time I got home, they were already playing. And then by the time they were going to bed, I also needed to go to bed. So the timing just kind of worked out time zone wise really well. And I just ended up spending a lot of time in that game and played all 1 until 1 was done, and then played 2 a little bit. And weirdly enough, now I really don't play Overwatch at all. Weirdly enough, I haven't touched it in, I think, this calendar year. But it was definitely my entree to gaming in a different way that not ever been before. So
it's okay. We have Overwatch 5.
Yeah.
which is
Marvel Rivals.
That's
Kevin Feige doesn't want people to say that. 'Cause it is. So my number 2, and God, I feel like Morgan Freeman's grandfather for saying this, but this was the first game that literally I went home and wrote side stories to, and it's Oregon Trail. We would have computer day at school because computers were just kind of coming out when I was in elementary school, and it was on a floppy disk and on this green and black computer screen was a whole universe, and it blew my freaking mind trying to make it to Oregon and not having that boat get swept away in the river, not have everybody die by snake bites. It gave me real PTSD at like 5 years old. It was crazy. I probably still have a notebook with my script for my Oregon Trail live action movie, and I better not see an Oregon Trail live action movie or you're gonna get sued. But yeah, that's my number 2 of all times. Like, and I recently found a modern remake of Oregon Trail. Still amazing with the most simple mechanics and basic special effects. But that was my number 2. Just Oregon Trail. Great memories.
I had the 2, I think it was Oregon Trail 2 or 3, and it was the double or maybe 3 disc set that came in the big thick CD case sort of thing, and I played the hell out of that one, which at the time was a big upgrade from the old green screen DOS version, which I used to play on my mom's one of my mom's extra computers at work because she dispatched ambulances, and she would be literally saving people's lives at that one, and I'm just sitting next to her playing Oregon Trail.
Saving people's lives. Sandy got bit by a snake. You're saving lives. And dysentery. I didn't even know what dysentery was back then, but I knew half my team didn't make it because of it. So
I didn't know what it was, but I knew I definitely didn't want it.
Definitely didn't want it. I'm like, I don't want this ditch. I don't know who it is, but it's bad. Will, you're number 2.
My number 2. I probably would have, for years, I probably would have said this is my number 1, but it has been overtaken. But the number 2 spot goes to Final Fantasy X. My very first JRPG. Set me down a long, dark, evil path of following evil mega corporation Square Enix, and it started me into my love for JRPGs just in general, and it's still one I play. I mean, I've played it on stream recently. I play it all the time. I still go back to that game. It's the game I've back in the day. To the children that are watching, you had to go to the store to buy the game, and it wasn't always available to download. But then you would trade it in to get store credit, which you can still do now, I think. And then I've actually bought. I think this is the game I've bought the most copies of. I've probably bought this game 12 or 13 times based on editions or getting frustrated at it when I was 14. Be like, I hate this game. It's too hard. Between all those, I still always come back to it. Classic, great story. The voice acting it's fully voice acted. A lot of love, a lot of work. It's really the best at being. I've heard if you are familiar with the content creator Plague of Grapes, he described it as the best at being itself, and that I totally agree. I totally agree with. It is, even though the other ones do have like turn-based mechanics, none of them quite hit like 10. There's just something about 10 for a lot of people, and there's for people a little bit older than me, at least enough to maybe have a generation of console. A lot of people felt that way about Final Fantasy IX as well. But 10, close place in my heart. That's my number 2.
Great pick, Connor.
So my first 3, I actually had to put some thought into, but my top 2 were just easy choices for me. And spot number 2, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, no contest.
Great game. I just bust that open on Xbox Series X the other day.
Yeah, man. Just days gone to that game. That was when I was like a teenager, but everything about it was there's like the meme of Homelander. Perfect down to the last detail. Loved Oblivion. And maybe one day if I get the time, I'll check out the remastered.
Great pick. Great pick. Cam, you're number 2.
Yeah, that would be yet another sad choice. City Skylines. 1, not 2. 2's a disaster. But the original City Skylines, I lost SimCity 4, and I said, all right, I still want to build cities. I guess it's time to invest in this City Skylines thing I do hear so much about. Yeah, I started playing it and building and learning it and got into the community and the mods and everything else. And now I'm one of the top 10 people in the world who played the most hours on that game. It's because I put in, I think when I started my article, I played 25. I wrote an article called "I Played City Skylines for 2,500 hours, and here's what I learned about city building," which kind of went viral a little bit. And that was a couple years ago. I think I'm up to like 3,000 or something like that now. But entered some cities in competition, all this type of thing. Really got into designing every kind of tiny little niggling detail. But I enjoy figuring out how to get an interstate over a body of water, how to, I actually did a highway interchange underground in one city. So the whole thing, it's on it's on this peninsula like San Francisco, and so the whole highway interchange to go into the city or to go to the industrial area happens entirely underground. That was an engineering nightmare. So things like that, I've enjoyed. All the stuff they added, all the mods that you can do. I love the size of it. Dealing with the traffic issues, especially in City Skylines 1, is incredibly frustrating. But it will, if you're willing to kind of embrace the whole thing, it will keep you there for a long time as you find various and sundry ways to move people around more efficiently. I love a good mass transit. I heard a metro. I heard a bus system. I love all the different transfers and different stations and things, and especially with the assets, you can get stations from all around the world. So as I can turn these into great gold. The last city I built before I kind of had some technical issues, I had different national districts. So there was a Koreatown, there was a Japantown, because there's different content expansions for all of that. So I actually specifically, so if you go to the Japantown, the train station is Japanese. All the buildings have the same look. All the it's a little crazy. Yeah. No, that's the insane level of detail I will get down to into.
That's really cool.
I will build wonderful parks, national malls, huge tourist traps served by master, all this type of thing. It goes crazy, sort of thing. So that's definitely my number 2. So
I want to live in Cam City. That sounds awesome. So my number 1. My favorite game, the game I've played the most times over, came out in 2018, and probably every 3 or 4 months I'll play a campaign since then, and that's Red Dead Redemption 2. First game that I ever cried at the ending. The good ending. I got the good ending, and I got the bad ending too, because I've got all 4 endings. But to this day, whenever I get a new lady in my life, she gets the Red Dead Redemption test, and hey, look at this game I'm playing, and look, the horse's testicles shrink. That's how much detail they put in it. And if they say you're a psychopath, we usually don't work out. But if they say that's pretty cool, we usually last for at least a year or 2 before they realize I'm a psychopath. But Red Dead Redemption 2, the best, not only my favorite video game, the best prequel of any series of all time, in any form of media, book, movie, whatever. Phenomenal acting, phenomenal action, even though the gameplay is a little janky. Sometimes you'll end up doing something, or the mechanics are a little outdated. Doesn't matter. The level of effort to make this a real world. It's crazy. And to this day, I will just play it and take pictures in places that I've never been before to this day. And it's been out for almost a decade. So for me, my number one, Red Dead Redemption 2, phenomenal game. And I even got a cameo gift from the actor that plays John Marston. He wished me happy birthday one time, but I was like, "That's John Marston. I hear him. I hear him. He doesn't look like him, but I hear him. That voice, I know it." So, yeah, that was my number one game of all time, Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's a cinematic feast for the eyes too.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So my all the wonderful things and qualities you mentioned about that game, my number one game has none of those, and my favorite number one game of all time is the original 1996 director's cut of Resident Evil.
Oh man.
And
I never finished that game. I was too scary at that time. I was only 15 years old when it came out.
Oh, I was the very first time I played it. I stayed over at my cool relative's house that I thought was cool, and he had a PlayStation, and I played that. And I remember I was like 5. He just let me play Resident Evil, but I remember I was playing that by myself, like down in the basement, and I'm by myself. And I got up and like turned the game off about halfway through, and I was like literally shaking. I was like so scared. And it just absolutely scared the pants off me. And the terrible, like the intro, the 90s FMV, it's all black and white, and the dog puppets, and they've got the dinosaur Jurassic Park noises, and it's just it takes all the wonderful aspects of hokey horror movies and fun, and then puts it in this game that revolutionized survival horror. At least bringing it into the spotlight. We can get into semantics about who originally started it, another episode. But that was the one that opened the most doors. Also, no pun intended, because there's a lot of door opening.
A lot of doors in that mansion.
and walking up the stairs. But everything about that atmosphere just creeped me out. The sound design just sounded so good at the time, and I'll just throw out my best Barry impression, You were almost a Jill sandwich.
That's damn good. Let me tell you, when those damn dogs jumped in the window, I pee-peed a little bit. I'm gonna be completely honest.
The first time that happens. Oh.
Yeah, not a full stream, but enough that I was like, I might want to change my pants a little bit. So yeah, I like I said, I was 15, almost a grown man, and I was like, oh, so I can only imagine at 5. I'll be in therapy to this day. Very crazy game.
Still am. No, I'm just kidding.
Pop Xanax. Connor, how about you?
For my number one, a game that I maybe played more than I should have, but I love every aspect of it. The pace, the design, and I gotta say, this game got me through some dark times in my life too. Bloodborne.
Wow.
And it infects our home to this day. We just got, what is it, the PS4 Plus we picked up? Yeah, we got the PS4 Plus. Still playing it to this day, and it's a household joke that the PlayStation doesn't like me, but it's a joke to myself that Yarnum does not want to see Connor descend upon the night of the hunt, because Will has not had a single problem with it, and every one of my save files has gotten corrupted since we got it and I tried playing again.
I don't know what it is, but I touch it, it's fine. As soon as he touches it, it crashes. And then it even transferred to my PlayStation 3. We were playing Army of Two the other night, and it's the first time it's crashed in years.
Wow.
PlayStations don't like me.
Sony products and Connor don't get along somehow.
I guess not.
It knows you're an Xbox kid. That's why.
Well, luckily, I've circumvented the PlayStation on allowing me to play Bloodborne, and dragged my friends into the awful world of Bloodborne by getting us Bloodborne the board game.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm a Microsoft guy too, but I never had any problems with my Sony, so I think it's just you, Connor. It's just
No shade to Microsoft.
just
No
me.
shade.
no shade. Yeah, close us out with the number one.
Yeah, so I wanna do my number one will definitely be Star Trek Online, but I want to do a little kind of minor um honorable mentions. One is a children's game from the 90s called Lego Island. That was the first game I really ever played. My dad bought me an IBM Aptiva with a Pentium 2 processor that shipped with Lego Island, and we went to get this, a store to buy a computer, no less, which no one does anymore. And that was, and it was a whole marketing thing because it was the first kind of Lego video game, and I played the hell out of that for number one. Many happy childhood memories there. But I think but the real number one is going to be Star Trek Online. I have a funny history with that game. I bought the original disc version in 2011, couldn't figure it out, chucked it in a bin, got rid of it. Years and years later, I'm like, you know what? I really actually finally want to learn how to do this game, sort of thing. And so I did, and I'm in the Reddit community, part of the Reddit Alliance. It's been a lot of fun. I've been working on an article for a long time where I talk about what STO gets right about the Star Trek universe, because STO has managed to incorporate every movie, every TV series up to the present day in one cohesive whole, which in a universe as expansive as Star Trek is, please no one go to sleep, is quite impressive. And so it actually also got me to go back and watch Voyager, which I was alive for when it aired and didn't care because I don't like Janeway. Kate Mulgrew seems like a lovely person, but Janeway was never a mover for me. And it actually got me to go watch DS9, which I never liked and still don't. But I did finally go watch it because I realized there was a lot of history and lore that I wasn't super aware of. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the new movies, but I do love some of the Kelvin timeline stuff. And STO puts it all together in one cohesive universe, which is really awesome. And for a game that is 14 years old, that will probably sunset in another 11 years. So in the mid 2030s is when it will sunset. It's been a quite big part of my life. I've met some great people off that game. Met some new acquaintances off that game. No real friends, but decent acquaintances, all this type of thing. And as someone who is a second generation Star Trek person, because my dad's the original Star Trek OG nerd, it was really cool to be able to kind of do that and have that and all this type of thing. The other honorable mention I wanted to mention was Guild Wars. I played Guild Wars for 11 years, from 2008 to about 2017 or so. And I even played that with my parents. We played 1 and 2. I stopped at the Heart of the Healer expansion in 2. And so, but yeah, STO is something I still play on a quite regular basis. Just the other night, I was working on a new build for a new ship that I'm working on, that is quite amazing. And it's still a lot of fun. I'm 5 episodes behind on the story, but I did play the whole story through at one point. It's amazing and magical. I will miss it when it goes. I'll be one of the last people logging off when it finally gets sunset. I just know now, like SimCity 4, there'll be 10 or 20 of us, and and we'll all get disconnected together, sort of thing. But it's been a fun ride. Yes, exactly. I'll be going down with the STO ship when they finally sunset it in the 2030s. Yeah, so it's definitely STO with honorable mentions, Guild Wars, and Lego Island. So
that was a classic. Well, fellas, it has been all awesome talking to you guys. You have infinite invite whenever you want to come chat on some nerd stuff. You're always welcome. I can't wait for you guys to meet my co-host Johnny. So you guys are always welcome. And I know Hammer is quitting time. That was Hammer telling us that it's time to quit. So guys, once again, please let the people know where they can find your podcast. And we're going to close this episode out.
You can find us on Instagram at TLJ_joke. or you can find us on Substack, thelivingjoke.substack.com, and we air every Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to watch on streaming channels, you can watch us on Rumble. Just look up The Living Joke. Or if you want to find all the other channels, it's CameronJournal.com/newshour, because we are live on a lot of Cameron Journal properties and everything. And the podcast on YouTube is on the Cameron Journal. But if you look up The Living Joke, it's at Suit Media, our podcast network. We're on there, and we're also at youtube.com/@CameronJournal. So that's where you find us, and all the links to the Substack. So go to the Substack, and that's the keys to the kingdom.
And we'll put all the information on the description, so you guys follow, subscribe. It's a phenomenal show. I've checked out all 10 episodes. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm honored to have you guys. So, man, keep on rocking. You guys are dope. You guys are awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Unknown Comic Book Podcast, where you don't know us, but you love us. Guys, we're out of this piece, and we're out of here.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Later.
Thank you.
Everyone.